In tonight's news edition, in his Christmas greetings, the Prime Minister said Jordan is proud of its national unity. Israel summons the ambassadors of 10 nations to protest a UN resolution demanding an end to settlement building. And all 92 people on board a Syria-bound Russian military plane are killed when it crashes. Good evening and Merry Christmas to everyone celebrating the holiday season. Prime Minister Hani al-Mulki wished Christians in Jordan a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and said the kingdom is proud of its national unity. He spoke during a Christmas Day visit to the Nasriya Virgin Church in Amman, where he met with church leaders and community figures. We live in an oasis of security and safety, and no one will stop us from continuing along this path to achieve the nation's pride, Mulki declared. We will rejoice in the festive occasions and uphold the noble ethics and values shared by all the heavenly religions, Mulki told the religious leaders. The Prime Minister, who was accompanied by a number of ministers, also urged caution against the design of terrorists and criminals seeking to target the country. We will look forward and will not allow anyone to stop this blessed nation's march, he vowed. Latin Bishop of Jordan, Maroun Laham, earlier congratulated Christians and said Christmas comes this year as Jordan is in grief for losing members of its security forces and innocent civilians. Prayers were held in churches across the kingdom for the security men who were killed in the terrorist attack in Karak last week. Christmas celebrations were called off in solidarity with the martyrs' families. The acting Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Barbatesta Pizzaballa, led Christmas Eve midnight Mass in the Church of Nativity in the West Bank town of Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus Christ. Hundreds of tourists from around the world, along with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah, attended the Mass. During the ceremony, Pizzaballa welcomed pilgrims from various states in their native languages. Head of the Jordanian mission in Ramallah, Khaled Shawabke, joined the midnight Mass in Bethlehem. He conveyed the greetings of His Majesty King Abdullah and the Jordanian people to Christians in Bethlehem, stressing that Jordanian Christians are an integral part of the kingdom's social fabric. Shawabke noted the king's custodianship of Islamic and Christian holy sites in Jerusalem and his support for the historic presence of Arab Christians in Palestine. In his remarks during the celebrations, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas noted the strong Jordanian-Palestinian bonds and the king's role in protecting the Jerusalem holy sites. Pope Francis offered a Christmas message of hope and peace in a world lacerated by war and terrorism. During his traditional To the City and the World message, the Pope urged people to remember migrants, refugees, and those hit by economic instability caused by idolatry of money. Francis, marking the fourth Christmas season since his election in 2013, also urged Palestinians and Israelis to have the courage to put aside hate and revenge and write a new page of history. He also called for peace in Syria, urging immediate assistance to the exhausted population of the city of Aleppo.
Today, this message goes out to the ends of the earth to reach all peoples, especially those scarred by war and harsh conflicts that seem stronger than the yearning for peace. It's time for weapons to be still forever in Syria and the international community to actively seek a negotiated solution so that civil coexistence can be restored in the country.
Israel summoned the ambassadors of 10 nations to protest over UN Security Council's resolution demanding an end to settlement building. Israel also had more harsh words for the Obama administration. In a show of anger, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told the weekly cabinet meeting that Washington had conspired with the Palestinians to push for the resolution's adoption. The vote passed in the 15-member Security Council on Friday because the United States broke with its long-standing approach of diplomatically shielding Israel and did not wield its veto power, instead abstaining. Ambassadors from 10 of the 14 countries that voted in favor of the resolution and have embassies in Israel, Britain, China, Russia, France, Egypt, Japan, Uruguay, Spain, Ukraine and New Zealand were summoned to the Foreign Ministry in West Jerusalem. Some countries view the settlement activity as illegal and an obstacle to peace. In Tel Aviv, Israelis voiced differing opinions over the impact of the Security Council vote.
I think it will limit the actions of the government of Bibi Netanyahu in the settlements and hopefully will make more justice towards the people.
I think the resolution in the vote in the UN against Israel came as a final stamp between the relationship between Obama and Netanyahu. I think they both try to come against each other at this vote.
A strong explosion in a Sukkari district in the Syrian city of Aleppo killed at least 2 people and wounded 15. The blast occurred when civilians returned to inspect their old residence, which they had previously abandoned in order to flee the rebel-controlled bombing area. The loud explosion shook the area and shots were heard following the blast. The wounded were immediately evacuated and transported to a nearby hospital. Meanwhile, Syrian and Russian armies began cleaning up explosives from the streets and buildings. Rescue operations were underway after a Russian military plane flying to Syria with 92 people on board crashed into the Black Sea, killing everyone on board. Russian President Vladimir Putin expressed his condolences to the families of those killed and declared a national day of mourning. Fragments of the plane had been found in the Black Sea, about 1.5 kilometers off the coast near Sochi. Here's more.
A Russian military plane has gone down in the Black Sea. All 92 passengers presumed dead, according to officials. The jet had been en route to Russia's airbase in Syria Sunday morning, carrying dozens of the renowned Red Army Choir, set to entertain troops in the run-up to the new year. The high-profile philanthropist Elizaveta Glinka is also believed to have been on board. The Defence Force says the plane disappeared from radar screens at about 5:30, just minutes after taking off from southern Russia. President Vladimir Putin offering his condolences and ordering an investigation into the cause of the crash. The Kremlin says it's too early to know what went wrong, but Russian media report sources saying the possibility of a militant act has been ruled out. Rescue teams now scouring the waters, with fragments of the plane being found about 1.5 kilometres from the coast. Local media say some bodies have also been recovered.
In a Christmas tradition that dates back to 1980, Germans braved the freezing waters of Berlin-Aranke Lake, where members of the Berlin Seals Swim Club said that despite the relatively high temperatures for this time of year, the weather definitely wasn't mild. The Seals prepared for their Christmas Day swim from the middle of September, when the 70-odd members start meeting for a dip every Sunday at 10 a.m. sharp. Meanwhile, in sunny Australia, hundreds of people flocked to Sydney's Bondi Beach on Christmas Day to enjoy the sunshine and surf to celebrate Christmas. Many people kept with the festive season look by donning Santa hats and reindeer headbands rather than sun hats on the beach. We move to sports, but we stay in the Christmas spirit. Santa Claus and his elves dazzle spectators in Virginia with their water skills on Christmas Eve in Old Town Alexandria for a 3rd year in a row. Santa and his reindeers sped by families and children in their water skis as his elves wowed the children with air flips. The Grinch was ready for action on his jet ski, with little Cindy Lou following close behind. Water skiing Santa is a yearly tradition that takes place on the river and is the longest-running water ski Christmas show.
Giving the crowd a big wave. Give him a wave back. Let him hear you.
Wolfsburg confirmed that reigning French soccer champion Paris Saint-Germain have agreed to sign German international Julian Draxler. It was reported by L'Equipe earlier this week that the deal for the 23-year-old midfielder was worth 36 million euros and would be PSG's first major signing in the winter transfer window, which opens on January 1st. Draxler's signing will help strengthen PSG for the second half of the season after a tricky start to the defense of their Ligue 1 title. And finally, it will remain cold for tonight with scattered showers in the northern and central regions. Tomorrow, more cold is expected with a chance for more rain in the early hours, which should taper off in the afternoon. However, another cold front is expected in the late evening, accompanied by thundery rain and hail. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect relatively cold and cloudy conditions tomorrow, with northerly moderate winds and choppy seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. To end the news, here's a reminder of our top stories. In his Christmas greeting, the Prime Minister says Jordan is proud of its national beauty. Israel summons the ambassadors of 10 nations to protest a UN resolution demanding an end to settlement building. And all 92 people on board a Syria-bound Russian military plane are killed when it crashes. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Nancy Khair. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.